Recognize.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. With the amendment at the desk, I ask unanimous consent that the amendment be considered as read. Before I speak on my amendment, I would sincerely like to thank Chairman.
Gentlelady might want to speak into the microphone. It's hard to hear you.
I'm sorry. Did we get past the unanimous consent?
Without
Did you hear me?
objections. What does she want? Well, I'm sorry. What's the question?
No, I was just asking unanimous consent that it be considered read.
Yeah, without objection to order.
Okay. Before I speak on the amendment, I would sincerely like to thank Chairman Schuster, Ranking Member DeFazio, Subcommittee Chairman Gibbs, and Subcommittee Ranking Member Napolitano for all of their hard work drafting this year's Water Resources and Development Act. I believe this bill represents a strong effort to help shore up our nation's water infrastructure and help grow our communities, particularly in North Texas. The amendment I'm offering today will build an existing authority provided for the Corps in the 1992 Water Bill. Under current authority, the Corps is able to provide technical and planning and design, in some cases construction assistance to non-federal interests across the United States for carrying out water-related environmental infrastructure and resource protection and development projects. My amendment would expand the Corps' authority to provide such assistance for lead and other drinking water contaminant abatement, including the replacement of water-related infrastructure. I pride myself on being a strong advocate for public health, particularly as it impacts communities with the greatest needs. This language is intended to target communities impacted by lead line pipes such as Flint, Michigan, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and to help improve the quality of water while enhancing public health. The water crisis in Flint, Michigan has highlighted the critical need to discuss the issue of lead and other contaminants in our water. Today, it is lead contamination crisis in Flint. Tomorrow, it could be lead contaminations in community all across the United States. I encourage my colleagues to support this amendment.
I want to thank my colleague for offering the amendment. Unfortunately, I must oppose it. While I recognize Ms. Johnson wants to provide assistance to communities facing their drinking water face issues with drinking water, including this amendment in the WRDA bill would go beyond the scope of what the Corps of Engineers Civil Works program and beyond the scope of the committee's jurisdiction. And since we'd like to stay within our jurisdiction, I have to oppose this amendment. Ms. Norton is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I recognize that perhaps there are, as you say, jurisdictional issues here, but I must say I think it would be quite an oversight from this committee, or regarded as such, if Ms. Johnson's amendment was not raised at a time when there is public consciousness about lead in the water and very little at the moment being done there. Look, I'm not from Flint, Michigan, but I am from the District of Columbia, and we went through a similar crisis. It was less deliberate and less serious because the Corps of Engineers put a substance in the water to purify it, added a substance to purify it, and it turned out to leach lead. It caused a great consternation. I went with Speaker Pelosi and almost 25 other people to Flint, Michigan just a few months ago and saw the rank confusion in addition to the anger about what to do now. So I must say I regard Ms. Johnson's amendment as very much to the point that I don't even read it as mandatory. It simply says prioritize. So it calls upon the Corps to have this in mind, to bring it up to the local jurisdiction to bring it up. And I can only say, Mr. Chairman, that I hope there will be some way perhaps working with whatever committee you think has jurisdiction to, in fact, have Ms. Johnson's amendment as a part of whatever goes to the floor. And I thank you and yield back.
The gentlelady, we continue to work on it. We know there's the situation up there in Flint, but again, this is out of our jurisdiction, and I'd like to keep these things tight so we can get it onto the floor and to the President's desk. But with that, I'll recognize Ms. Bustos for.
But I think she had.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to express my strong support for Congresswoman Johnson's amendment. Safe drinking water is a fundamental right, period. It's an issue that's critically important to so many families in my own congressional district, and it's an issue that we must address for the health and the safety of our children and our families. Public health experts agree that there is no safe level of lead in water, especially for children and for pregnant women. As a mother and a grandmother, I know that there is nothing more important than ensuring that our kids get off to a safe and a healthy start. And I thank the gentlelady for offering this amendment, and I yield back.
Thank the gentlelady. Ms. Johnson's recognized.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, while I would encourage my colleagues to support this amendment so that we can strengthen the national dialogue around this critical public health issue, I understand that some of my colleagues on the majority have concerns with the amendment. Therefore, I respectfully withdraw the amendment and hope that we continue the dialogue at a later time. Thank you, and I yield back.
I thank the gentlelady for withdrawing, and again, we will continue to work on this issue. Again, the jurisdiction, though, lies outside of our committee, so we'll be working on those other committees to try to figure something out. With that, Mr. Capuano's amendment.